Welcome back to Jaeger Racing. Today we're going to be going over the question that has been asked over and over and over and over again, and that is, why am I getting rid of the Subaru? Alright guys, so today I'm going to run down the reasons of why I decided I'm going to get rid of my Subaru. Obviously, many of you heard, many of you have asked questions, and so I kind of wanted to address it all in one video and throw down all my reasons for why I'm going to get rid of it and why I did get rid of it at this juncture. So, first reason, not the number one, but the first reason, is just being done with the platform. So to kind of give you a little bit of backstory, I bought that Subaru STI brand new in 2006. Obviously it is now 2020, and for me it was just time to move on to a different platform. Obviously I started to do that a little bit with the Miata, and I just really came to the conclusion that I was done overall with the Subaru and the GD platform. I definitely believe it to be a very great platform, but at the same time, looking at a car from 2006 versus a car from, let's say, 2015 and above, wink wink, the technology that's in the car, the engineering that's in the car, obviously has progressed a little bit in 11 to 15 years. So there's a lot to do with that. The platform itself is aging, and I wanted to move on to something a little bit newer. So also to kind of give you a little bit of understanding of the platform change, to kind of give you a little bit of history, I bought the car in 2006 after having a drag racing Subaru, or Civic, excuse me, that I was passionate about and was deep into. So I moved to the Subaru. My whole thought with the Subaru was keep it comfortable, keep it a street car, make it so that I could still drive it to work if I wanted, which that all stayed pretty much that way from about 2006 to roughly 2010-11. Then it started to progress further. Whereas in the end of 2014, then it went full-blown 100% race car into limited class, and then 2016 some rules changed, and 2016 and beyond was all unlimited class. Obviously I never registered the car after, I believe it was 2014. I stopped registering the car for street use, just because it'd be too difficult and it didn't make sense. In my opinion, you're more likely to go drive to work and get the car crashed into than drive it on the street, or to drive it at the track in a time attack format and have it crashed into. So, alright, so number two. Realistically, I think this is one of the more major components of why to get out of the Subaru now, and that is simply, I accomplished many goals that I had and didn't even know I had. So at this juncture, the Subaru has exceeded every expectation and every goal that I ever had imagined when I bought the car. Obviously your goals and thoughts and ideas shift as days go on, and without a doubt still all of my goals have been exceeded still, with all those expectations changing. Just to kind of give you an idea, obviously like I said before, I didn't expect the car to get much out of a stage 2 car. So to get where it did is incredible, and obviously I have a lot of people to thank to get me from street car to full-blown time attack monster. But going back into it, one of the things for me when I started getting into time attack is I started looking at people. I looked at people like JC Monet, the Cobb Tuning guys, which I believe his name was Cameron Benner. Obviously GST Motorsports and the L. Those are the Subaru guys that I looked at and said, wow, I could only imagine what it's like to build a car like those, and to do those things that those guys were doing at the time. I just thought that was unfathomable. It was an unreachable goal to look after, to try to achieve. And for me to then be able to basically go in and break some of those guys' records and to be as fast or faster, to me, that's, again, achieving goals beyond my even wildest dreams. Those are the things that just, enamor me still to this day. When I look back and I have, 2 championships from Redline Time Attack, a championship from Global Time Attack, something to the tune of I think it's 16 to 20 records that I've held throughout the years. That's things that I never thought possible. So again, it's just the accomplishments that I've been able to achieve with that car are just beyond. There's obviously one that has eluded me. That was the one thing that we were working towards at the very end that not going to be able to achieve, but that was setting the overall lap record at Buttonwillow. That's just one of those goals in any time attacker in the U.S. That's a goal that you should be striving for. I know they have moved Super Lap to COTA, but still, at the end of the day, for some of the older guys, Buttonwillow is the benchmark. So that's kind of my interpretation. I would settle for that record at Buttonwillow over COTA any day of the week. To me, it's there's more history. There's more people that have attempted it, and it's just gnarly to look back at some of the guys that have come from overseas and so on and so forth and attack that track. So, things like the 2016 season, going to Road Atlanta and facing off against guys like Life Motorsports and GST, and being able to say that after the first day, my guys and me, we were number one on the charts, right? We were number one, being able to look at that and say we were going after it. We were beating everybody after day one. Obviously, the other guys turned up the wick a little bit on day 2, and we had kind of already turned our wick up. But needless to say, you're going after some of the fastest guys in time attack, and really being very close or winning. Going to the end, going to 2016 Super Lap Battle, we were able to win that. We were able to sit back and win that event, and incredibly, facing off against a bunch of different guys, including people like the Professionally Awesome team, Will Young in a Civic, James Houghton and in his Integra at the time, a bunch of guys showing up with top tier cars, and we were able to edge that out and be only the second amateur driver to win Super Lap Battle after Cody in his Z06. So, you have to really look at the history of the sport and try to really understand what that means and where my place is in that. Again, looking at Buttonwillow, we have the 8th fastest time ever at Buttonwillow. That's something that I can really hold my head high in knowing that I was able to accomplish that, with the help of numerous partners and teammates. Obviously, in motorsports, a lot of it comes down to the driver, but a lot of it comes down to the team prepping the car and getting it there beforehand. Racing is 120% a team sport. Don't you forget it. Also in 2016, we were able to win the inaugural HKS Speed Ring for all-wheel drive. Didn't win the event because Life did right after the HKS car, but we were technically third, but still we won the money and we won the trophy and won the all-wheel drive portion of that. Interesting how they classed that, worked in our favor. And that was against stiff competition against UMS Tuning and Tony Zerka. So, I like to think that we've raced some of the best time attack cars that we've seen, obviously, in the last, 10 years. And we've come up on top quite a bit of the time. So, again, accomplishments. I can't be happier with the level of accomplishments that we've been able to have, which that allows me to feel really good about moving on after the Subaru. Number 3, we come to being very realistic in what all this is cost. To run an unlimited class car in time attack is money. Huge, huge, huge money. Without a doubt, that's probably one of the biggest factors here. In the fact that it's very limiting for a privateer who's paying for it out of their own pocket. I don't necessarily have the ability to say I own a shop and I can have guys work on it, or I have all the tools because I have, you know, a whole shop that's ready to work on this particular brand of car. I have to rely directly on shops or other people or other things to be able to get what I need, and obviously it's difficult. You know, you're definitely beg, borrowing, and stealing from whoever you can to get things done, and you know, at the end of the day, you also have to go work your day job, and those are very difficult things to manage all at the same time. Obviously, for me, as a privateer, you know, that's all coming out of your pocket, right out. You're writing the checks, you know, you're dropping the cash. So, very, very difficult, and that's probably one of the largest portions of it in itself. And time. So number 4 is definitely going to be time. Time is something that is finite. You know, from moment of your birth to your death, you know, you only have that amount of time, and every minute that you spend on something, you can't spend on something else. So at the end of the day, you know, you're having to pick and choose what you spend your time on. And for me, I think without a doubt, I relish in everything that I was doing. With every bit of the racing with the Subaru, I'm happy to look back at those memories and say what I gave up instead of going racing. You know, instead of doing that and going racing instead. Without a doubt, I'm glad I went racing. It was a blast. It was one of the best things that I've ever done. But it is something that you had to give up. You had to give up these other things. You know, and people say, "Oh, what'd you give up? Sitting on the couch and hanging out?" Okay, yeah, sure, absolutely. You know, I could have just been playing Xbox, hanging out, having a good time. Or I could have been going and visiting family that I don't ever get to see. Or I could have been going on a vacation and using the money that I could have spent on the Subaru on a vacation. And, you know, you're giving up life experiences and family and friends. And, you know, numerous times friends said, "Hey, let's go somewhere." Oh, I can't do that. If I do that, then I can't spend that $300 or $500 on this thing that I want that might make me a tenth faster. So you're having to make those decisions and say, I'm going to spend every last dollar and every last minute on this. You know, whether it be making phone calls or working on something or driving to go get something, or, you know, all those things. That's time. Obviously with me, I have my son who's 4 years old, and I want to be able to spend more time with him and not always be driving to get something or doing, you know, you have to be able to manage your time appropriately to these different things. And some people would just say, well, you can easily do that. You can do all these things. And I'll agree with you. It's just going to cost more, because it's easy to delegate, and it's easy to push off something onto someone else if you're willing to pay them, or if you can pay them. It's much more difficult to say, hey, I'm not going to be there, I'm not going to do anything, but I want you to take care of it. Someone is going to have to fill that void with time, their time, to get that accomplished. So, you know, it's coming at a cost from somewhere, somebody, something. And without a doubt, you know, those are the driving forces. That time. So that's probably one of, again, I can say they're all probably one of the largest, right? And in all 4 of these different examples, they're probably 25% a piece in terms of why I decided to give up the Subaru. I wanted to chase more records, but at the same time, I felt I accomplished enough. I thought I'd spent enough. I thought I'd given up enough time to that sport. So, you know, at the end of the day, I feel that I gave everything that I could to it. Now, with that said, I'll be the first one to say, you know, this isn't a bad thing. Throughout the time that I had a blast. I met new friends that I'm going to keep for a lifetime. I'm still going to the track. I'm still, you know, part of that scene. Still doing all of those things. It just allows me to do some of the things I love more, which is, you know, I love sharing the track with with new drivers, with experienced drivers. I was sharing my experiences with those people to hopefully allow them to not make the same mistakes that I made, or maybe learn a little bit quicker or something of that nature. So there's something, you're giving up something to gain something else. Without a doubt, there's one of those things where all the guys that put time into that Subaru, which that list is long and distinguished for the amount of people that have spent working on that car, and their time was never in vain. We were always working towards something. We were always pushing diligently. We always got great results for the most part, even when things didn't go our way. So at the end of the day, getting rid of the Subaru because I want to chase new adventures. I want to be able to have time to do the things that I want to have time for, and want to be able to help my friends see their goals through. I had so many people give up their time to help me achieve what I wanted to achieve, and at the same time I want to be able to do that to them now. I want to be able to give them my time instead of consistently having to say, I'm busy, I have to work on the Subaru, I have to prep for this, I have to do this. So this gives me an opportunity to give back to the people that have given me so much. So that's what I have, guys. That's my reasons. That's what's going on. And obviously you'll be seeing more content involving Miatas, Mustangs, and probably other people's cars. Alright guys, see you later.